Welcome to the Word for Life podcast, a daily devotional covering the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation.
In Judges chapter 15, we read about Samson taking vengeance on the Philistines. First, we read that Samson's father-in-law deceived him. When he went to meet his wife, Samson's father-in-law told him that his wife had been given in marriage to another person. Hearing this, Samson said to them in verse 3, "This time I have a right to get even with the Philistines. I will really harm them." Then using 300 foxes, Samson burnt up the shocks and standing grain together with the vineyards and olive groves. By burning up the fields and creating so much loss, Samson conveyed to his father-in-law and the Philistines that he was not a small person who can be played around with. He has the ability to break, burn, destroy anything and harm them if they hurt him. But the Philistines also wanted to show their power to Samson. They went and burnt his wife and his father-in-law. Thus, they ended Samson's hope of ever getting his wife back. This angered Samson further. So we read in verse 7 and 8, Samson said to them like this, "Since you have acted like this, I swear that I won't stop until I get my revenge on you." He attacked them viciously and slaughtered many of them. Then he went down and stayed in a cave in the rock of Etam. But the Philistines went after Samson. In verse 9 we read, "The Philistines went up and camped in Judah, spreading out near Lehi." The Philistines there threatened the people of Judah because Samson was among them. Therefore the people of Judah went to speak to Samson, and then they bound him with ropes and brought him to the Philistines. When the Philistines saw him, they thought that they had got their enemy in their hands. But in verse 14 we read, "The Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him. The ropes on his arms became like charred flax, and the bindings dropped from his hands." Friends, in the story, we can find so many faults with Samson. First, he wanted a Philistine wife. Secondly, he burned up the shocks and standing grain together with the vineyards and olive groves. You see, the law of Moses said in Exodus 22:6 that if a fire breaks out and spreads into thorn bushes so that it burns shocks of grain or standing grain or the whole field, the one who started the fire must make restitution. But you see here, Samson deliberately used fire to destroy the fields and grain, but did not make any restitution. More importantly and thirdly, in verse 15 we read that Samson found a fresh jawbone of a donkey. He grabbed it and struck down 1,000 men. Friends, this means Samson handled a dead animal, a fresh jawbone of a dead donkey. You see, according to Numbers chapter 6 verse 1 to 21, a Nazarite vow meant the person who made the vow should not come into contact with a dead body. If a Nazarite became defiled by a corpse, he had to go to the tabernacle for a cleansing procedure. But you see, Samson, for the second time, broke his Nazarite vow concerning corpses. But in spite of all his mistakes, we read that the Spirit of the Lord strengthened and saved Samson from the mighty Philistines. And also, after his battle with the Philistines, when he became thirsty and cried out to the Lord, verse 19 says, "Then God opened up the hollow place in Lehi, and water came out of it. When Samson drank, his strength returned and he revived." Also, even after breaking his Nazarite vow, God kept him as the judge of Israel. Verse 20 reads, Samson led Israel for 20 years in the days of the Philistines. Friends, what this tells us is that our God is like a persistent lover. He chases us even when we run away from Him. His love is truly everlasting. But the question remains, how wonderful it would have been if Samson had fully given himself as a sanctified vessel to fulfill the purpose of God. That is the encouragement Paul gives us in 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 20 onwards. He says, "In a large house there are articles not only of gold and silver, but also of wood and clay. Some are for special purposes and some for common use." In verse 21, "Those who cleanse themselves from the latter will be instruments for special purposes, made holy, useful to the master, and prepared to do any good work." Friends, those who follow Christ and turn away from wickedness are made holy and are ready for action, useful to the master.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow for the next episode of the Word for Life podcast.